DG2, we are here on an important mission. My name is Fauzani, I'm from Singapore.
My name is Rino Anugrahatiatmaja from Indonesia.
And my name is Roxy Gonzalez from the Philippines.
Together we'll present to you what we have concluded and discussed in DG2. Please give your attention to us. Thank you.
So the first question that we want you to ask us, what exactly is DG2? What exactly do we do in DG2? We hear PY saying DG2 is the easiest DG because all we do is dress up in our attires, talk about our culture, talk about what we do in our countries. In fact, it's not just about that. It's not just about dressing up. It's not just about telling people what we have, but it's basically creating an atmosphere where all the 11 nationalities understand each other, exchange each other's cultures, and develop a respect for each and every culture in which we can adapt to each other in harmony. Another is, what do we want to achieve in DG2? We want DG2 to not just stop the moment we disembark from Nipon Maru. DG2 carries on until we come back home to our respective countries in forms of our PPAs, which we will be discussing later. Next slide, please. Allow me first to present to you the highlights of discussion session 1. Here you see 4 syllables. Bafa Bafa. To any PY who is not from our discussion group, this may just be 4 random syllables that you think we may have put together. But to us from DG2, this represents something special.
Long ago, in a land far away, there lived 2 tribes, the Alphas and the Betas. And for the longest time, they had been enemies due to miscommunications that happens between them. When the Alphas talk, they tend to make a lot of hand movements. And they ask personal questions that is very offensive for the Betas.
How's your NP date?
As for the Beta, the currency in their tribe is called Ba, which means 1, and Bafa, which means 2. And interestingly, Bafa is a vulgar word in the Alpha tribe.
Ba? Bafa.
And due to this conflict, they have never been on good terms until one day, a young Alpha and Beta decided to have a cross-cultural understanding promotion discussion. There, they expressed their cultural practices and the do's and don'ts of their respective tribes, and from that day onwards, they managed to become great business partners around their region. They realized that they never wanted to create misunderstandings, and they understand the importance of learning about each other's culture.
So ladies and gentlemen, Bafa Bafa was one of our highlighted activities in discussion session 1, where we divided our groups into 2 and we simulated a different culture for us to experience how is it like to do something okay in your culture but offensive to another in which you know nothing of. What you see here is part of our individual assignments before we went on board. These are the selfies, which we call cultural selfies, where the PYs will highlight an item, an artifact, a gesture, or a place that they believe represents them and their culture. So in session 1, we learned about our diversity. We learned acceptance, our culture and those that are not our own. And commitment. Commitment to the PYs of DG2 that will further promote cross-cultural understanding promotion. Allow me also to highlight and quote one of our PYs to Victoria from Malaysia. To him, DG2, it was very important and eye-opening for us to learn how to adapt to other cultures while also maintaining our own. Here you will see our picture at the Yokohama Chinese School when we had our institutional visit in Japan. Here, what was the most important thing that we learned is that in this school, there were different nationalities living together, going to school together in a harmonious and peaceful environment. So if students who are younger than us, who are more fragile and volatile than us, can learn CCUP in their own lives, why can't we PYs and why can't the rest of our ASEAN community and the JASEAN community as well? Also, one of the questions that we had, why do we need to have homestay in SSEAYP? So in CCUP, it is also very important for us to experience a different culture from what is our own. So first we had our discussions of our Japan homestay. How does it feel like to live with a Japanese family? There we experience sharing our culture while also immersing ourselves in the culture of the family that we lived with. Another question, where do you stand? It may be in terms of political issues. It may be in terms of your personal, questions, issues in life. But for CCUP, we ask you, where do you stand in the line between your culture's norms and your personal behaviors? So here we did an activity where we draw a line and we identify where do we stand. One end is where your culture usually behaves. One end is where you behave as a person. So there, we saw how different each of us were in terms of culture. And that's not just because we were raised in a certain way, but it's also because of the experiences we had, the travels we had, the people we meet. For example, one person, a JPY for example, typically, all the JPYs were in one end of the spectrum, being very punctual, very rigid with their schedule. But to our surprise, another JPY was at the end, very flexible to whatever changes may be in the schedule. That does not mean she's not a Japanese, but that simply means that as the globe spins around, as every day that happens, globalization occurs and we also become adaptive to more cultures. And from that, we identified our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities for growth and development, and the challenges that we face so that we may be able to become more effective. So here we learn more about people, us, and the people we work with, the societies that we live in, and the opportunities that we can create and gather. So from here, allow me to quote Hera from Brunei. The different views has given me an open mind to understand others' cultures. And that's what we believe CCUP is all about. Zani?
Thank you, Roxy. All right, we'll move on to the session 3. Okay, so what we see in session 3. Now, most of the time, I bet, when you go to other countries, or even when you're interacting with your own friends, you might question yourself, why am I so stupid? Why do I not understand this better? Why do I not know this culture? So in CCUP, session 3, this is what we learn. To many others, maybe in Brunei, or when you see chopsticks, definitely you'll just break it open. But that's not what we do in Brunei. The chopsticks are meant to be stick together and use it that way. I'm sure many of you do not know that if you have never been to Brunei. Okay, and there are many other cultures that if you go to the country, you would have a misconception of it. But only in DG2, you will learn about all these misconceptions, and you will learn from your friends that you're not supposed to do that. That's not how we do it. The same goes when you go to Malaysia. You go to the coffee shop. to the restaurants, you hear people calling the waiters boss. Are they really the boss? No, they're not. They're just waiters. But why do you call them boss? Because that's a tradition, that's a culture. We call them, hey boss, give me a coffee. Right. The same goes with Philippines. You might need to attend an event at 6:30, but up till 9 p.m., the event has not started. That's called the Filipino time. Correct me if I'm wrong, Filipinos, but yes, it's because you wait for the guest of honor to arrive. You do not start a program until the guest of honor arrives. That is the Filipino time. Singaporeans, we know, okay, when there's a tissue on the table, what does it mean? Does not mean it's free for you to take. It's because you choke or you reserve the place. But the misconception of others, the foreigners who come, oh, it's free, let's just take it, why not? No, it's not. You do that, you'll get into a war with the other people. In Thailand, if you experience many of your DG group mates, they do not really speak up, or maybe they do because they are different breed from the Thailand the Thai people in Thailand. Because mainly in their classrooms, usually if you ask questions, you'll be seen as someone who likes to show off your capability. That is why the Thai people in their classrooms, they do not ask questions. Not because they do not know, not because they do not want to, but they do not want to be seen as someone who is proud of their questions. So, in session 3, this is what we learned. To have an open mind. And next, we also learned that you need to understanding, and accept. May I now invite EU from Myanmar? Okay. This is her reflection. Gender inequality situation is getting better, but still see instances where women do get equal chances with men because of cultural perspective. By raising awareness and advocating equality, we can close the gap. Right, up next. This is what we discussed in session 4. Can we have the slide? We do not only discuss cultural issues, but we also discuss social issues such as radicalization, globalization, gender inequality, and many more. Alright, because of time, I'll move on to session 5. Thank you.
Thank you, Zali. In session 5, let's see our first video from us. Joining for session in DG2, we have a big mission to create a post-program activities of each country. And then one of the best activities, one of the best strategies to create our PPA is make a PPA with Fishbone Ishikawa, where we have to determine the most prominent issue in each country and the reason behind it. One example, in Thailand, about acceptance of LGBT in Thailand. We know, most of us know about it. However, just few of us can accept that LGBT existences. Moreover, TPY in DG2 tried to make an event, a K-education camp for LGBT community to improve awareness and skills for contribution to society. Therefore, the image of LGBT can be better. Next, we are not only creating social project in each country, but also create a project See You See Me to deepen our conversation, to deepen our cultural understanding among all PYs. The last thing we learned from session 5 is promote cross-cultural understanding, give back to society, and create more opportunities for all of you to engage themselves in various social activities. Okay, that's all from us. And then Rexy, second video.
Untitled Chapter.